Hi, thanks for joining us today. I'll be your presenter, and my name is Terry. I own Merit Marketing Services. This webinar is brought to you by the Business Professional Women's Association of Zanesville, and their focus is on advocacy, education, and information in the workplace and the community. The BPW is celebrating their 100th year in BPW in Zanesville, and they offer individual training, scholarships, competitions, community events, and I highly recommend that you check them out on the website at ohiobpw.org or follow them on Facebook at ZBPW Ohio. And today in this online class, I'm going to teach you how to plan for a successful digital marketing strategy in our quickly changing economy, how to pivot your focus and start to look for new opportunities and reach new customers by digging into alternative sources of income and boosting extra sales, and how to utilize your plan to have a short-term focus while building on long-term goals, meaning that sales funnel is always going to be full. And let's understand that when January rolled around and you were building plans, you didn't know what the future had in store, but you still made those projections and you still continued moving forward. And today we're going to do the same. It'll just be more adaptive and more proactive than before. So how to set effective and realistic goals when your business motto has changed? Well, that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to go over a couple of things that we saw in the elements of a successful digital marketing plan and make those strategies. We'll explore the SWOT analysis and identify ways that you can turn that into opportunities to expand your business and open new revenue streams. And then we'll also take a look at the process that your customers are going through and audit your website, because when they buy products and services from you online, we want to make sure that the sales process is flawless for them, because the last thing that you want is an abandoned cart or something getting in the way of their purchase. And then at the end of the webinar today, you're going to get everything. So all the emails and the worksheets and the tools, they'll come to you. But one of the things I wanted to share, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this class, was that there was a regional survey done from business owners and how they were impacted recently with our stay-at-home orders and all of the changes impacting business and conducting business. And the survey asked a couple of questions, but basically, what are you being impacted with now, and what do you see as needs that you have, as well as what do you plan on changing and implementing? Well, the two top answers that came back out of that survey was to stay in personal communication with their customers, so that making it personal and regular communication efforts from the business to their consumers to let them know what's happening and the changes that they're making and what to expect when doing business with them. And the second one that came out of that, which was surprising that they recognized it, but I wasn't surprised that it was an answer, was that marketing needs to be ramped up by businesses now, immediately. So those are what this is about and how we're going to utilize this for businesses who are suffering or see that there are changes that are coming, and how to make that as a tool and opportunities rather than a threat and weaknesses. So what you'll see here on the screen is elements of a successful digital marketing strategy. There are 6. We're going to go over all 6 of these, and the reason that I want to cover this is how to set up the marketing plan, which includes the strategy to get your message out to the audience. And these pieces should be a well-oiled machine. By the end of this class, you'll have notes and resources, and we'll refer back to worksheets and things to make sure that you can implement these. But we're going to go over them one by one, starting with our engaging website. So this assumes that you do have a website, but the idea is to have the impact to the audience, your viewer, be responsive, up to date, and represent your company well. This one you have a lot of control over, and a lot of what we do is going to drive traffic back to this website. So if your website is able to have responsive and attractive. Notices, for example, if hours have changed or operation policies have changed, those are what are included in here. So I've listed a couple of things about how to get engagement on a website. If somebody comes to your website, sticks around for a little bit, that is engagement because they are receptive to the content that you have shared. Number one is a modern design, images and videos, the colors that match your brand, so it visually is appealing. The text flows nicely so that when they read your content, they are absorbing the information you're sharing, and that it's social media friendly. And if they want to attract their friends or colleagues to your content, they have the ability to do that. So in the modern design, the elements that I want you to take a look at are the images enhancing your content. Is it organized into sections that matter to the user? You may know your information inside and out, but if you are using your website to educate somebody, for example, does it make sense? And the information that they're looking for, is it readily available to them? You also need to make sure that the purpose is very clear on the goal of your website. Is it to educate? Is it to attract leads? To make phone calls? Those type of things. So we need to make sure that each website has their goal clearly identified, and we'll see an example here in a second. And then how to get more information is something else that if they are to consider you for a purchase, for example, then it needs to be readily available. And the navigation, which is your menu items, grouped and easily accessible and easy to use. So here's an example of a website that has a lot of information, but the information here is grouped. And I'll show you a couple of examples of what we just went through. The request a free quote is right here. The phone number with hours is right here. The newsletter sign up is right here. And the shareable content is also right on the prominent right side, easy to find. And again, there's a telephone number up here. The goal of the website is to request quotes and find reps in your area. And the mission of the website is right here. Your single source for the highest quality, concrete systems, everything is all right here. So the goal is clearly demonstrated. Finding the representative is what we want the audience to take action. And you'll see over here, the content is in relatively easy to read paragraphs with highlighted, bold information about the content, and the navigation makes sense to the audience. Images and videos are the second thing on there. You want to use your images sensibly. So you don't want to overwhelm the website with too many videos, and this is assuming that you're not a photographer. That's not the purpose here. If you are a photographer, obviously photos do need to be in there, but if you are just a regular business selling products and services, then they need to communicate the information that's relevant. If you can, link to other content inside your website. For example, if you are selling bikes and you are also selling tires, then you could link to other products or other pages inside the website that's relevant, and also use them to communicate branding. They need to, if you are selling something, need to be realistic and natural of the product that you're selling, and you can also edit and alter them to make them more attractive. That doesn't mean that they're unrealistic and unnatural, but you can enhance them. And here's an example. Cleveland Brothers sells cat, and their use of color goes along with the branding. The product here is in its setting, so you'll see that it's a natural setting. The product is out there, but they enhanced it with some information based on this headline: Uncover Vision Link Secrets And Vision Link is a service that the driver would use to get information about the equipment. And this is just a visual representation of what is happening so the driver can get the information they need when they need it. Again, menu items are clearly organized. The goal is to get your parts online. You can find a rep and get quick access to other things as well. So the navigation and everything in here, as well as colors, photos, content, are all set up and done well in this example. Making good use of color. As we just saw, the yellow, that refers to the cat logo, yellow and black, I should say, would confuse you if you saw this website and it was green. The example is simple, but the idea needs to flow through from logo to design, brochures, offline materials, as well as your social media accounts, all of those things where the logo color is your brand and makes you visually identifiable and separates you from the competition. So use that to your advantage. And as we saw on the first example, the text should be easy to digest. They were in small paragraphs with bold headlines and easy to understand, and where you are skimming through rather than having to read the entire content. The bold section headings are important. State your point and be concise. Links can be used to break up text flow. And paragraphs in general should only be a few sentences long. If it has more information, use that as an opportunity to create a new page. And here's just an example of a visual text with an image. Just a couple of things to note here. There's bold information, 3 sentences, a little bit of bold content, their slogan, as well as this image up here emphasizes the context down here. 3 years extended protection, and then you have your Vision Link service as well. So they've used the images to break up the content, and that way it is in smaller, easy to digest pieces. This is actually an example of a bad website, and you'll see that it doesn't flow very well. They've used small sentence structure, but it's really hard to read. The menu is funny, and this actually is an example of a bad website to be able to use and share. And I just wanted to put that out there. Next, we're going to move on to the search engine optimization, which is the process of making sure that your website shows up in search engines, Google, for example, to drive traffic to your website. So, SEO. The question that you need to ask yourself is, can Google find your website? So in the SEO, I want you to think about the keywords that people put into Google and your page would show up. And what that tells you is what people are searching for and how well you rank against your competition for those keywords. And you'll see down here that your business name doesn't count. People aren't searching for your business in a competitive nature. If they want to search for your business name, they're typically already have a relationship with you. So maybe they just need your driving address to be able to get to your facility, or your phone number or hours of operation. So that doesn't count. What we're looking for here in SEO is products and services. And as you see here, the way that you're going to rank inside of a Google search engine result is how many times you use that in the page. And for example, if you're selling bicycles, is it in the headline, the page title, website.com/bicycles, image description? So instead of having it named img1234.jpg, you can rename those to bicycles by Mike. Have it also included in your content and links and anywhere else you can put it on that page. And Google will then receive all of that information that you have on your page when they come to your website and put that out in the search engine results when somebody's looking for bicycles. And knowing what they're searching for is probably the most important thing. Now, if you're going to compete for bicycles versus bicycle tires versus bicycle chains, it's important, and we'll show some of those tools to find what they're searching for here in just a second. But it's really critical that you know what those keywords are that you want to rank for. If the people who are searching for, let's say, bike chains, for example, so bicycle chains, they really just want to know how to change that out on their bicycle. So they're looking for education. They're not buying products in that instance. They want instruction. So if you can create a page that's instructional, they'll at least get to your website. And if you've created the first part of the engaging website well, you'll link to other sales pages. They may come in on an information education page and stick around looking at other things, and they may convert to buyers. So once you start to look at how your information is received and where they're going, you can build that marketing structure to other opportunities. Here's an example of just a basic search result and the page that looks like on Google. If you look up Abraham Lincoln, you'll notice that there are ways to filter out up here based on, let's say you were searching for something versus education and versus shopping, for example. And there's more underneath here. But if you're looking for web results or images, news about Abraham Lincoln, or if you wanted to buy a book or download a book and watch videos, those are all up here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the search page, but basically I want you to see the elements in here. The name and the website, and the green is the link, and you'll see Abraham Lincoln was what they called their page name, and it's in the content as well. So they have it showing up here, 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 and here. And then here's just a Twitter blurb of what Abraham Lincoln is doing on Twitter. And then down here you'll see again, this is another result, and that's at whitehouse.gov, and he has his name here in the content, and the same down here on the third one. And then over here is just basically a snippet. If you, depending on the type of information that you're searching for, this will either be the business or information relates to a biography type of result over here. So this will change just based on what you're looking for. So here's a couple of the resources. Again, I'll send them to you in an email, but these are how you would find those keywords and how to use them in your marketing plan. And then are other people, other businesses, other websites linking back to your content? And the way you're going to reach new audiences is by connecting with new businesses. And that could be influencers or guest blogging on other sites. So if you're Bike Mike and you know that there's an AOA competition, for example, and maybe that the president can link back to what you're doing, or you can blog on their website and talk about equipment, for example. But this helps your website build authority in search engines, which also drives new traffic. So in addition to reaching out to their audience, you're also building authority back to your website, telling Google that you know what you're talking about. More people find value in your content, and the information that you have out there is valid. That's how Google will view all of those backlinks. And if there are any links that are broken coming from other websites, you can check that. Use the Check My Links Chrome extension and ask to have those fixed. You may not even know what's out there. Moving on to number 3 is content marketing. It's content for the purpose of generating brand awareness, traffic growth, lead generation, and targeting customers. So we just talked about guest blogging on other websites, but if you're going to do this on your own website, It's basically the same concept, but now you can use that to drive it direct to your website rather than going through a third party. And just remember that content is king. I always tell people with a new website that websites aren't set it and forget it and expect them to last forever. You're going to be outdated. And even if somebody writes the same, without plagiarizing, the same content that you do, has the same headlines, the same everything is equal in terms of keywords and SEO. If they came out last week and yours came out last year, Google's going to view yours as stale, whereas the new fresh content may seem to be more relevant and more up to date. So keep that in mind when you are creating content, which also leads us back to the keywords. When the audience does the search for your content, make sure that you show up and grab their attention. So if you are creating content from scratch, address the needs and answer their questions. And then while you have them, educate them on your business, products, and other services. Example, back to Bike Mike, who sells bikes. He may be able to educate them, but he can also sell them other products while they're on his website. So I want you to create content regularly so you keep it fresh for Google. And if your ranking system on the Google search result page was number 1, and then you start to see it slowly declining and traffic declining on your website, think about how you can start to get fresh in the eyes of Google search bots. And you can also modify content that you had on there before. You may not have to reinvent the wheel or come up with something new every time, but if you modify it and update it, that's something that Google bots will come through and notice. So keep that in mind when you're looking at content. If you have something in there, just freshen up something, add new content, a new paragraph, a new image, and resubmit it to Google, and they'll see that you have new updated content on there. Moving on to number 4, email marketing. Email marketing is actually one of the easiest ways to communicate with your existing customers. And if you can get them to opt in and want your information, the easiest way for you to convert new customers from being just interested potential customers. You can use it here, you'll see, to promote content, share discounts and events, and then direct people back to your website as well. So if you have a new article that you've created on your website, for example, that answers the questions and you've done a good job on your website, you can use number 4 to drive traffic back to your website. And I do recommend getting email software, not just emailing from one account to people over and over again, or just carbon copying everybody in your inbox. So this investment, there are free ones out there and there are paid versions, but either way, it's still going to be an investment to build your database. Some examples might be Constant Contact, MailChimp, HubSpot, SharpSpring. Those are all email softwares, but the investment gets you brand recognition. You can track your click-through rates, where if you were sending it out just from Gmail, for example, you don't get the information back from whether it was received. You get information if it bounced, but if they opened or clicked on something, it's really hard for you to track to know if your emails are working. And then your deliverability. You may end up, if you have 100 addresses sending out from your Gmail, get flagged and not be able to get into the inbox. So the deliverability is important. If you have 100 names in your database and you can't send to them anymore because you got flagged, or knowing that they went to the recipient's junk mail, then you have zero deliverability essentially, because nobody's receiving your messages. But you can also personalize it. Even if you did have 100 in your database, you can personalize those and make it more intimate. You have automation abilities. Managing your contacts is important so you can follow them all the way through your sales funnel. So I want you to consider email softwares and database management. This is just one of them. This has a marketing automation platform. And if you want information about that, I'll put that in the links as well. And then social media marketing is a great way to promote your brand and your content to get brand awareness, drive traffic, and generate leads. We'll go a little bit into this, but I want you to identify your goals. So you'll see here in the blue, branding, authority, traffic, sales, event attendance, whether it's online or in person, increasing your followers, get downloads of your information, and more views on your content. Those are the goals that I want you to think about. What is my goal for jumping into social media? I'm an advocate for social media, but I'm not an advocate for doing something just for the sake of doing it or for the sake that everybody else is already on board. So knowing your goals, like if you're the best bicycle person selling in the state, but you're supposed to be selling ice cream as your job, you're missing your opportunity. So I want you to think about if I'm just putting it out there to put it out there, or if I can turn that into sales. And that's the biggest question that I get is, if I invest my time, how can I convert that to sales? And we'll talk about strategies for that. So if you were to go, and this example is Facebook, into your page and set your benchmark, we'll have some worksheets to know where people are on your page views. You'll see this is just a week here. You have the ability to change the last 7 days or the last 28 days. Actions on your page likes, reads. So this is just the dashboard inside Insights. But when you click on people, you'll also be able to see what people are doing and what they look like, your audience, here in number 2. So we've identified the why. Why are we going on social media? What do we hope to get out of it? And how can we make sure that we're getting what we planned? And those we're using the numbers and the insights, writing them down, and watching them trend. And then you need to decide who. If you go through the persona worksheet that I have, that's going to tell you who your audience is and who those buyers are and how you can talk directly to that person. Talking to everyone sells to no one. So if you just put information out there that says, Bikes Mike's is open and we sell bikes, that doesn't really sell to somebody. But if you talk to one person, and Mike's Bikes store can say, if you're looking for the best way to get your family out and active, we have everything from kids bikes to 10 speeds and professional bikes to get your family moving. Now you're talking to one person because it's the mom who's trying to get her kids out on the trail and get active. Then you can sell to more of her. So going through and fine-tuning your audience helps you fine-tune your message. And developing a relevant buyer persona is essential inside that social media marketing because it happens so fast that you want to capture her attention, and you want to solve her problems with what you have to offer. And there's 3 pieces of information that will help you pinpoint your audience on the next page. And if your audience is not on a certain social media platform, don't waste your time there. Now that you know who your audience is, you can know where they are. So let's look at this customer avatar. And the person that Mike's Bikes wants to talk to is a mother who is 45, has a 16-year-old and an 8-year-old. And her pain point is that they are just sitting at home watching TV and playing video games and not being active. So her pain point is that bicycling and getting bicycles out to the trail may be a difficult challenge. And her objections might say that she can't afford bikes. She doesn't know what the pricing is. So for her to put out 4 bicycles all at once might be out of her budget. And her role in the purchase process is to research and gather all the information about bikes, the type of bikes, and pricing. And of course, we're going to fill all of this other information out as we go, but that helps us to identify who our number one customer is and how to create that message to speak directly to her. There are other people that are just like her. So what we're doing is we're creating this imaginary customer, and her name is Mary. And when we talk to Mary, we're going to explain to her how Mike's Bikes has financing available, bikes of all sizes, so we can take care of her 8-year-old and her husband and the 16-year-old daughter. And then we want to explain to her how we can help her with the sale and give her all of the information that she's looking for. And then identify where she is. This is a look at the back end of Facebook under Insights. And if we click on Insights, we go to the left-hand side menu. That will change. We were on the dashboard. Now we're going to go inside the People tab, which brings this screen up. And if you'll notice here on the very top is women who like our page and men who like our page. So we're going to pretend that this is Mike's Bikes page, and these are his insights, and these are the people that follow his page, his fans. And this is broken down by 10-year grouping, 35 to 44-year-olds and 45 to 54-year-olds. These are the top 2 groups of women that he can speak directly to Mary, explain to her all of the information about getting her family active, helping them to have a great time on the trail. They have all of the accessories. Shopping is made easy. All of the things that would answer her questions and help her to overcome any objections that she has in the buying process. So we know that she's here inside Facebook, and some of them are following us, and we could probably find others to follow us as well. And you'll notice here down below the location, city, and language. 2,500 are in the United States, and the highest population of people that like Mike's Bikes are in New York, New York, and the second highest is in Boston. So if we were to look at these 2, well, let's say these 3, top 3, if we know that there are some fantastic trails in Rochester, New York, we may use this as an opportunity to reach out to a new audience and start to focus our content and information and ads, for example, in Rochester, because we want to sell more bikes to more moms who live in Rochester, and we know that they have the trails to be able to use our bikes. So that's just a good way to help build that strategy. So how do you learn more and fill out those questions on that avatar sheet? The first bullet point here says to review your happy clients. If they're happy with you and you can find more people like Mary, let's say Mary was a buyer now and she was happy with us, let's find out more about Mary so we can find more people that are similar to Mary's traits and her interests and the things that she does. So we are on target when we start to look for more Mary. So if you're pleased with the company's products, they're a great way to build the persona. Study the industry, the demographic, the goals, and help to understand who your audience is and who you're talking to. And the second bullet point talks about nailing down those pain points. So what questions does your product answer, and how can you make the buyer's job easier? Understanding that helps Mike's Bikes show more value to Mary. If delivery is important to Mary, if bike racks are important to Mary, installation, maybe there's a warranty, for example. So her objection may have been, what happens if I get a flat tire? I'm not skilled to replace them, or can I have it tuned up and maintained and bring it into Mike's Bikes shop? those type of things help understand how you can make that message tailored exactly what Mary's thinking. And then if, let's say that in the store, there are cashiers and customer service representatives that deal with customers on a regular basis. So asking them what they hear most often will help you develop and create that content that answers those questions, the social media posts that speak directly to those pain points, and really capture the attention of people's frustrations so you can provide value and be the solution. Now we need to know where they are. We talked a little bit about Facebook and knowing that Mike's Bikes audience majority is females in that 20-year range in what city. So we can identify that, but I want you to take a look at other social media channels because chances are they're doing something else. Most don't have only one social media platform that they're active on. If you're selling directly to consumers, Facebook is the best bet. If you have a younger audience, Snapchat might be the way to go, or Instagram. And if you're doing a business transaction, then LinkedIn is a great way for you to reach out to new businesses. And then knowing where the competitors are help you to also monitor what they're doing, as well as kind of follow suit. If they've already been in that marketplace or that platform and the audience is receptive, then chances are they're going to be receptive to you as well. And I wanted to bring this in because I want you to understand the most effective and the most difficult marketing tactics. The blue is the most effective, and that was email marketing, which was number 4, I think, on our digital marketing strategy. The most effective means of marketing is through email, and you can see and track direct results if you have that database email marketing manager set up. And then the most difficult to implement and execute, you'll see, is social media, which is what we just talked about. But I want you to keep in mind that as long as you understand where your goals are, who your audience is, what your message needs to be, then it's not difficult to execute a social media marketing strategy. A lot of people will post content just for the sake of posting content. But now you'll be able to go out and create content that drives traffic, that has engagement. And engaging doesn't just necessarily mean only reply when somebody replies to your post, but also to engage and get involved in other people, other industries, other topics as the business representative as well. So you start to reach out and build a following and build that fan base by getting outside of your bubble. And you'll notice here too, the most difficult tactics near the bottom, one of the lowest difficulties is email. So you can jump into it and see good results. So keep that in mind. And social media, it is 4th in line for effectiveness. Websites being 2nd, and the SEO portion of that being 3rd. The social media manager, the person who is responsible for getting your message out on social media, whatever it is that you find that you need to be focusing on, whatever platform I should say, is to work on increasing followers. And that means the more people that see your content and your messages on social media, the more results you'll get. And if you have current customers and each business industry has a different base of followers. So keep this in mind. If you have a social media page that is used to, like, let's say you're a membership business and the people that follow your social media page are all of your members, then you're talking to the first bullet point of current customers. So make sure that they're happy customers because they become brand ambassadors. Give them the product updates, new content, industry information, everything that's valuable to your current customer. Do it well, and then they can buy again, or they can also share it and tell other people how excited they are about your products. If you have the second one, which is just simply fans, and they just like your content because you're funny, you answer questions, or you're just really good at being sociable on social media, then encourage them to take it off of your social media platform and into your database, and you start to build that database. So now you had 100 in your email campaigns, and the more you can get them to start engaging with you outside of social media, then you'll have more and more names and people to market to, and encouraging them to buy whatever it is you're selling. And then of course there's paid ads, and that's the third one. Organic is fantastic and cheap, it's affordable, but if you need to get outside of your audience or your followers, and let's say back to our insights where the people were in Rochester, and we wanted to expose them to the brand as Mike's Bikes and begin to get new followers and see our sales increase, then we're going to advertise to Rochester, New York to get those numbers up because they're prime. And we've done our research. We know that there's a bunch of people that are like Mary with their families who want to get out and use that trail, but don't necessarily have the means to do so yet. So this is where paid ads come in, and we start to reach more people than we have as connected followers. And then we're going to talk about paid ads. And that is something, PPC or paid clicks, advertising online falls under this category. And that would be Google AdWords. You can do that on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Almost all of the channels have a way for you to advertise to that audience. We're going to pick on Google AdWords right now. That's the most common, and most people are familiar with ads on Google. So what I want you to understand is that I'm not telling you to go out full blown and start advertising, but I want you to understand what the costs involved are, because that's the very first question that I get. Well, how much is it going to cost me when we start talking about paid advertising? And just note, this is your budget and you decide. But in order to set a budget and be profitable, that's where math comes involved. So if we look at the search engines, there are two rows here. Search is on the top, display network is on the bottom. For this example, I'm only going to go over the top half of this. Basic answer is, if you do a search inside Google, the ads that pop up at the very top, that's what this is relating to. And the cost per click is every time somebody clicks on your ad, how much does Google send you the bill for? The average is $2.32 to get somebody to click on your ad in the search network. And then down below, it's 58 cents on the display network. And you'll see each of these have an industry related to them: advocacy, auto, B2B, consumer services. But I want you to look at this top one right here, the most expensive and the most competitive, because people are willing to pay more and their advertising budget is bigger. Then this number goes up. You'll see that's in the legal industry, law firms. $5.88 is what they're willing to pay to have somebody click on their ad and go to their website, because they think that their website will convert them and they will fill out the information and they'll have a new lead. So it's worth the attorney's office to pay $5.88 to compete for your business if you need a lawyer. The second one here is employment services at $4.20, because headhunters and recruiting is important because of the labor and industry is highly competitive, meaning that they are basically fighting over opportunities to have somebody work for them. And then consumer services is here, $3.77. We're going to focus on this one here for the next example in our math. And we have to understand what our maximum cost per click is going to be. So this number, $5.88. This is the profit, and that is times profit margin times website conversion rate. Remember, I said that the attorney paid $5.88 to have you click on their ad because it was at the top, and you went to their website, and they have a conversion rate, meaning that every time somebody goes to the website, so many of them will fill out the form or buy. So we're looking at $400 out of 1,000 visits to your page. You can convert 20 of 1,000 visitors, which is a 2% conversion rate. And your profit margin is 20%. Then your revenue is $400 times 0.20, 1 minus 0.20 times 2% conversion rate. So our profit margin is $6.40. Okay, so you'll have to get your numbers and plug your math in here. Know what your conversion rate is by looking at your analytics. And if we have, let's say we're looking at the orange, which is $5.88. If we have a budget of $6.40 and we're still making profit, and we can up that and compete and take business away from that other attorney, then we can do that successfully, set our math. Now, you don't have to go to the maximum number. That's just your highest. So if they're at $5.88, you can go to $5.95. That's your maximum that you're willing to pay at the moment for a click. Now, if that were $6.88 the attorney was using as their maximum, then we're going to lose money. And we wouldn't, two things could happen. We could say, nope, we're going to go and compete against them, and we'll put ours at $7, even though our profit is at $6.40. Now we're losing money. Or if we keep it at $6.40, we're not getting any clicks. And if we were to go to less than that, nobody would see our ads. So we still have to know what's profitable to improve the conversions. And another way that you can increase your profitability on your paid ads is to increase your website conversion rate. And that goes back to number one, the engaged website with good content and SEO will also be set for a higher conversion rate. As you create ads and you start into advertising, there is limited space, so you need to make it compelling. Knowing your audience, knowing those pain points and the keywords that they're searching for has led us all up to this point to make a compelling ad. And you'll see if we can convert them with our ad, then we have done a couple of things. We've known our audience, what they needed, and that we provide the solution. These guys down here include free prints, and their services include repair and restoration of quality photos. And there are extensions down here of other things that they have available as well in their ad. And then there's photo drying and restoration. They have 24-hour service, highly trained specialists, and they're faster to any disaster. ServPro. Online Photo Fix is in the top spot, and they do magic. High quality, retouching done in 24 hours. They have their services listed, and they have a color restoration rangefinder. So you'll see they need to be compelling, that answer the problem that your audience is searching. Effectively creating a strategy is the first step. The next step is, now we've talked about Mike's Bikes, we've looked at where our people are, we've created a compelling message to speak to her, and we have the ability to convert people on our website because we've done all of those steps. Now we want to look at new opportunities and reach new customers. And selling to the same old customers may not work in a time when business models have to change, when doors are being closed, when strategies and the state implementations are changing the way that we do business, or we've had to simply change the way that we sell and the way that we think. And what I want to specifically look at here is the green O for opportunities. And the way that we pivot in terms of Mike's Bikes, if let's say his situation is a brick and mortar and he's only selling in the store in New York, but he has an audience in Boston and Rochester. We're looking at the underserved markets for that specific product, which in our example was in Rochester, and we find more Mary, and we're approaching her as an underserved market because there isn't another bike shop in that area, for example. Or in another case, an emerging need for products and services because things keep changing. And how do we create those opportunities? How do we take advantage and leverage our services in those opportunities? And that means that we diversify. So Mike's Bikes in his brick and mortar store now needs to look at selling his bikes to a brand new audience in a brand new media channel in a brand new way. And diversifying, we look at new lines. Maybe there's complementary products and services in that industry. Mike needs to start looking at alternative streams of revenue. For example, if he can't open his doors and he's selling bikes out of his shop, perhaps an alternative stream would be a video subscription on how to ride bikes, how to change tires, and all of the knowledge and education that he has. He can bundle that and package that and sell that as an alternative stream. And then partnerships and collaboration. Those are other opportunities. If he only sells one particular bike and the average is $200 and he's averaging 5 a week, he's already lost $8,000 in revenue if his stores have been closed. So thinking about what Mike can do, he can sell and ship online. For example, he could open up products on his Facebook page and reach a new audience, turn on ads, sell those through the marketplace, and start to sell bikes on Facebook. That doesn't mean that's a giant investment into changing his website to an e-commerce website, but he can literally sell through social media. If somebody needed rooms, and we're just brainstorming now, but this is the idea and the process that I want you to go through in your business, in your situation. Maybe since his store isn't open, he has a lot of space, that maybe renting bicycle space for storage is important to that audience in New York. They can't keep them in their apartments, or they don't want them stolen when there's bad weather. Maybe there's customization services that he can offer. Perhaps there's stationary bases that he can start to sell and people can exercise at home. And again, we talked about online lessons, videos, conferences, classes, those type of things, to where you can share his information and charge for those, and they can monetize the audience. Repairs, maybe curbside drop-off, delivery, pickup services would help raise the revenue stream in that way. And another thing is to diversify by selling other products. Right now, if he's only selling a $200 bike, he could have an offering that makes sense in his industry of $1,000 bike or an $80 bike, and see what the market is interested in, and testing that to diversify into more than just what he has for sale. And next we'll touch on partnerships and collaborations. And other stores are closed, so maybe working together with them, or open stores, for example, might be an opportunity. Gyms, fitness stores, clothing and outdoor adventure stores, nutrition, drinks, parks and recreation. Know the audience. Back in the last set of slides, knowing what else they're doing, we might be able to reach them through different channels. And if the gyms are closed, he has bicycles. Maybe that base that is stationary for exercising at home works alongside of the gym class. The gyms are selling memberships, but you can't go in and use them. So everybody's idle. Perhaps he could approach the gym and say, I have stationary bike bases and you have a cycling instructor. Let's work together and create an online cycling class. And both of us can reap the rewards of reaching new audiences and refer people to and from each other's business. Fitness stores, same idea. Maybe he doesn't want to get into carrying those stationary bike bases, but he could work with the fitness store who has them and maybe make commission based on selling them. And same concept, clothing, outdoor adventure stores, drink stores, collaboration between products and sales and deliveries. All of those are really important to collaboration. So I want you to go through and start a list of at least 5 partnerships and complementary businesses to what you're doing that you can either work out referrals, you can, and it can be even in the same industry. Not every person who does what you do is a competitor. Sometimes that's your highest amount of referrals. And think about that. You knowing your strengths and your opportunities is super important. And what you can deliver may not be what somebody else can deliver. So I want you to think about those, write down 5, and then come up with a way to approach them and say, I know that you're in the same position that I am. Let's see how we can make this work. Next, we're going to move on to goals, tasks, and accountability. And these are setting those targets. So the short term, medium term, and long term are how you need to break that up. And like I said before, when you started in January, you planned for your 1 month, 3 months, 6 month, 12-month forecast and budgeting. And we're going to do the same thing. But again, like I said, it's going to be a lot more focused and a lot more reactive and planning for change, essentially. In the short term, I want you to write down in the box what you can do today, tomorrow, and next week. And that would be checking out your insights, doing a website audit, and creating a content that's pre-scheduled on social media, and get a whole week or a month, depending on your time, scheduled and ready to go. Over the next month or two, you need to start looking at budgets and how much of that can go into paid advertising, and also setting your goal for paid advertising. So you know what your benchmark numbers are and where you want to go from there. And the long term is 6 months to a year. And this is where we're proactive in changing and pivoting, because when new mandates come down the pike from our governor, our president, all of those things that mandate, and the health departments and those governing bodies that tell us what to do and how to do it in our business for safety, then we need to take a look at those again and again and again. So we're going to set our short and medium term goals with a long-term focus. When you fill out those boxes, though, I want you to be as specific as you can. You cannot say, I want to get more business. It has to be nailed down and what is expected. And then it needs to be measurable with a number, something tangible, either a percent or an actual digit or dollar amount. I want to get new sales online, 5 new customers. Attainable needs to be realistic. If you can't get 5 new customers and 5 is not where your standard is, then change that to something that's attainable. Relevant, meaning the goal is related to the big picture. We have specific short-term goals and our long-term focus, and it needs to be timely. So it needs to be by Friday, I will have this done to meet this number, and the outcome will be this. Here are some examples, and they can be related to customer acquisition, conversions on your website, or retention, all of those things that are related to digital marketing. You want to achieve 20% new online revenue within 3 weeks. You want to acquire 5 new online customers this month with an average profit of $500, et cetera, et cetera. After you set your goal, you have to go back to your short-term actions. And this is how you'll fill in the box with these specific sentences that are SMART goals. You want to post 5 times per week on Facebook and Instagram using your content calendar. Create 1 5-minute product instruction video every other week. Email your subscribers a short email detailing your specials, and they can expect that every Tuesday at 9:30, and write 1 new article on your website. With the expectation, and your midterm goal is to make sure that your goal is to increase your followers by 1,000 and website traffic goes up by 75%, and you generate 20 new sales on your website. And the long-term funnel is the very bottom of those boxes at the beginning, that in 6 months, you will reach those expectations and you will not have 0. If you do nothing now, you'll have nothing then. And the idea being this funnel, if you were to walk into the kitchen and get the funnel out of your cupboard and turn the faucet on, and the faucet is running and you're standing over on the left sink, but the water is running on the right sink, you miss the boat. So what I want you to visualize is that we're taking the funnel and we're moving it over to the water stream under it and capturing all of the water that's going through. The same idea is that there are people out there every single day in the search looking for your products and services. You're way over here on the left sink that isn't doing any good for anybody because they're searching and not getting your solution and your best products. You're over here hanging out and you're not getting to the customers. So let's move your funnel where the people are. And once you get all of that figured out, you'll be able to turn the water up and more will go through your funnel and it will be a lot more efficient. But I want you to do this repeatedly because everything that's happening right now is changing so fast that I want you to be proactive. I don't want you to turn it on and forget it, but I want you to use these tools to keep on track and look for new opportunities on the regular basis. And everything that you're doing, just keep that in mind, is that long-term future business that you're building. And the visual here is the red is capturing all of the water that's coming out of the faucet, and you can turn that on as high or as low as you want based on the actions that you take today. But keep in mind, if you turn the faucet off and you're standing at the kitchen sink and you're not doing anything that we talked about engaging websites, creating content, posting on social media, you've shut the faucet off, and effectively nothing is going to run through your funnel because they're not coming out into what you have here, building awareness. All of these things that we just talked about is just the top level. There are so many more things that happen underneath of there in the yellow, the green, and the blue. But the most important thing that you can do is get people into your funnel, turn the faucet on, create content marketing, social media posts, paid ads, do the SEO, do your public relations, get out there. That's effectively building a digital marketing funnel, because something's going to come out the bottom and that's going to be a client. We talked about your website conversion, and I want to go into that last piece, the element that we discussed in the beginning of what you're going to do today. And that's the buying audit. This isn't how your salesman talks to people. This is essentially how the consumer buys something from you. And if it's on your website, I want you to take a close look at the process that they go through to buy the product and service, whatever it is that's on your website. And I want it to be easy and short and relatively straightforward, because if there's something in the way of them paying you, and I see this often, more often than you would imagine on a website, if people are confused on what it is you want them to do, then you're not going to get a conversion. And if that's sales or if that's downloads or fill out the form, whatever that conversion is for your business, that's what I want you to think about. Is it easy for them? At the very, very beginning, the first website that we saw was that concrete company, and they were find a rep. Get a quote, find a rep. The very top on the right-hand side, and the phone number was prominent. There's no question on what they wanted you to do when you got there and how to do it. So I'll send a website audit as well as a buying audit checklist, and have somebody else go through that for you, somebody with a fresh pair of eyes. Because if you see it every day, but you don't know what those hurdles are, the people aren't going to reach out to you to tell you. So it's up to you to find somebody that you trust to tell you if there's a glitch or something wrong or they had a hang up in that process. Go ahead and do that buying audit, because no matter how much funnel you have or how much ads you spend, if they can't finish the process with you, then you've essentially done it all for nothing and you've lost out on all that opportunity. And everybody recognizes this. It's Amazon's buttons. They have perfected the buying process to make it easy for you to give them money. And I want you to use this as your idea and your template and thought process. Is it as easy as Amazon to pay me money? And right there, buy now with one click. I mean, you can literally on my phone slide it, buy now, and it's done. I don't even have to confirm it. It's so easy. A 2-year-old can order something. So keep that in mind. If you can make it as easy as a 2-year-old, that's really difficult. But if you can get as close to a 1-click or a 2-click conversion, that is what I want you to keep in mind to make it that easy. And if you look at all of the information that we just talked about, the big picture strategy, pivoting what you're doing and making it as easy as possible for people to do business with you and to know who they are and to want to seek them out. Is your product in demand? Bikes by Mike's Bikes. He was selling a $200 bike, and that was it. If that's not in demand, then he needs to approach a different product to market. A $1,000 bike or an $80 bike, kids bikes or adult bikes, 10 speeds, street bikes, trail bikes. What is that? Can you add on or upsell products and services to the biking community? Helmets, accessories, repairs, education services, training, drop-offs, tune-ups. What does that look like for your industry? And then pricing. Will they tolerate the $200 bike? Is there a need for the $80 bike? We just talked about that. Maybe you can put things together or do a buy one, get one, or some kind of pricing break for a certain industry. Maybe that's something you can approach. And then place. If people can't come to your store, this is regarding distribution, how can you bring your product to them? Is there a delivery service that you might be able to add, or online sales and shipping? Maybe through a partnership, they can deliver bikes while they're delivering pizza. I don't know. But the idea is to start thinking about that pivot and that new opportunity. And then promotions. Are you doing PR for the bike and the product that you have that's a solution? Are you doing sales promotions, personal selling? People aren't knocking on doors, but maybe there's other avenues for you to do that personal selling. And then to turn on ads and reach a wider audience. Those are all related to the marketing mix. which is right here, and you'll have that slide as well. Product, price, place, promotion. Thank you for coming today. If you have any questions, I'll hang around and answer those in the chat. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all soon.